know he's the shove-it man!
Undefeated streaks are something that are often discussed in wrestling history. They're often used to build up a new star to be taken seriously as a threat. But some of the most famous streaks are Goldberg, Undertaker, and Crimson. They're all remembered, but what about Vito? Let's get into it. It's Ring of the Hawk Season 3, the show where we watch back a wrestler's short run with a company, and at the end we shove them a final grade to see if they can do the J.O.B to the H.A.W.K. Today's video was also a Patreon request from Q Branch. If you want to make the Hawk talk, sign up today. And of course,
if you know a wrestler who could do the J.O.B to the H.A.W.K any night, any day, ha ha! Shove their name in the comments, Jack!
Okay, it's Vito in a dress. It's the shove it zone, I guess. Vito is best remembered for his WCW run as part of the FBI. But in 2006, he also had a WWE run. He's not remembered fondly. Let's find out why. Match 1, SmackDown. Bobby Lashley versus Big Vito with his little friend Nunzio. They're just shoved in the ring with no explanation. Lashley scowls at Vito. Vito tries to get off to a good start, but Lashley has too much power and connects with the power slam. Nunzio tries to jump him on the outside, which is a bad decision because Lashley carries him into the ring and hits some sort of wacky throw. Vito uses that distraction to hit a kick to the head. Big Vito tries to figure out something else he can do, but he's too slow at thinking. Lashley wakes up and hits and smashes him with a T-bone suplex. Big Vito is back to his feet quickly, so Lashley throws him with 2 overhead belly-to-belly suplexes. The crowd are in shock at seeing such a big guy being thrown around. Lashley finishes him off with a Dominator. It's a weird way for Vito to make a debut. I guess he made Lashley look good. Not much else to say, it's a C. Match 2, 2-on-1 handicap match. Bobby Lashley versus Big Vito and Nunzio, who actually get an entrance, which surprises me. They try to get the advantage, but Vito runs into the ring straight into an elbow. Lashley turns his attention to Nunzio, which allows Vito to jump him from behind. They both desperately crash, punch and crunch Lashley, who just won't stay down. The Vito kick has little to no effect. Vito sends his partner running at Lashley, who scoops him up and Lashley powers him into Vito in the corner. Now it's a double underhook on Vito. Lashley spends a bit more time slowly smashing the FBI before throwing Vito out of the ring. Moments later he decides to finish off Nunzio and he picks him up for a Dominator. Vito tries to interrupt on the apron, so Lashley impressively knees him away. The Dominator eventually connects and Bobby Lashley is the winner. Another hard match to judge. Give it a D and move on. Match 3, Battle Royal for the number 1 contendership for the tag titles. The New Road Warriors, Too Lame, The Dicks, London and Kendrick, and Nunzio and Big Vito. That hat really makes me want to smack Vito one. And the final team is the MEXICOOLS. Within seconds, Nunzio is thrown out the ring by Animal, which means Vito is also eliminated. I blame the hat. This is a horrible start. The match is won by the MEXICOOLS. It's an F.
Man, shove it!
Match 4, triple threat tag. Psychosis and Super Crazy, the MEXICOOLS versus the Dick Brothers and Nunzio and Vito. The last 2 teams don't get an entrance. Finally, Nunzio and Vito do something. They hit a double hip toss on Psychosis into a double elbow drop for a 2. They also hit a double clothesline for another 2. Taz half-heartedly says how great they are on commentary. Vito tries to make him tap out to a camel clutch, which doesn't work and he tags out. When Super Crazy gets the tag, the match turns. Vito rushes the ring, gets a back body drop for his efforts. The MEXICOOLS beat Nunzio with a double team facebuster. It's an S.
Oh man,
it's runs like this that make me question why it even exists. What's the point in this video? What am I supposed to be seeing here? After that loss, they disappear from the main roster, only to return 5 months later. And what a return it would be. Nunzio looks like Disco Inferno melting in the sun, and Vito looks like a naked mole rat. He's got a new gimmick. He likes wearing women's underwear or something. Guess we got that to look forward to. Match 5, tag match. London and Kendrick versus Big Vito and Nunzio. 0 reaction to these guys, by the way. I just call it as I see it. Vito doesn't start this one because I guess he's busy thinking about women's underwear. Nunzio is losing, so Vito cheats and takes a cheap shot on London. Vito's now in and he gets a 2 off a diving clothesline on London. Paul London responds with a backdrop suplex, which is somehow a double down despite being 1 minute into the match. Vito tags out as he's exhausted. Kendrick gets the hot tag and he kicks both the Italian guys down. He also hits Vito with a diving forearm. London and Kendrick start hitting random strikes. It doesn't feel like anyone's on the same page for this one. Vito falls out the ring and Kendrick wins with a sliced bread. An ugly, pointless match. It's an F. Vito starts wearing a dress for some reason. No, he doesn't lose a match and he's doing it as a forfeit. He's choosing to dress like this. He says that he's the toughest guy to ever wear a dress. This seems like a weird choice. You would have thought that Nunzio would be the one to wear the dress, but little did I know, this would be the proper start of his Ring of the Hawk run. Match 6, it's Big Vito who looks like he's holding in a dump as he walks to the ring versus Nunzio. Vito's extra aggressive in the early going. He gets Nunzio on the apron and clubs him time and time again. Vito keeps screaming, "I'm the man," to zero reaction. Nunzio fights back with rabbit punches to the gut, which doesn't work. Then there's an ugly collision in the corner. Nunzio tries to dive at him, but he's caught and shunted into the corner. Nice arm wringer takedown from Vito now. 6 matches in, and that's the best we've seen from him. Vito goes to the sleeper hold. The crowd are in complete silence. They don't know who they're supposed to cheer for here. Nunzio fights out of it and connects with a middle rope dropkick for a 2 count. Vito gets back to his feet and hits a big right-handed smack to the head and an impaler DDT for the 3. He hit 2 moves and struggled against a far smaller opponent. What is this supposed to be? I guess Vito and Nunzio aren't going to be a team for the rest of this. It's a D. Match 7, Vito, who has a new blue dress, he's described as being a cross between Sherry Martel and Dr. Evil, versus jobber Scott Wright. The jobber laughs, so Vito flips and smacks him about 1,000,000 times. It's smack after smack after smack, but he gets marked down because none of them were to the gut. Vito throws the jobber across the ring and lands a clothesline. The jobber tries to fight back, but runs into another clothesline. Vito hits a scoop slam and a leg drop. There's the impaler DDT, but it's not over yet because Vito has a brand new submission move where he forces his opponent's head up his dress. It's over, it's an S. Match 8, Vito who does a smack me one shuffle versus Simon Dean. 2 complete goofballs right here. Dean is disgusted by Vito. Dean tries to grab his eyelid but he gets smacked with one. Vito suddenly makes the worst decision of his life. He tries a splash on the corner. He misses and Vito has exposed himself. We get all these blurry filters all over him as Vito exposes his nutsack to the crowd. Dean is a mixture of disgusted and amused. He gets a 2 count on a double stomp. What am I even watching here? Vito connects with a Russian leg sweep. Then he does a punch combo. The combo includes showing Dean his ass. Vito does a suplex and climbs to the top. He flies with an elbow drop. No cover is made. This is getting wackier and wackier by the match. Vito puts Dean's head up his dress and he taps out. Vito's on a winning streak, God help us all. It's a C for putting everything into this terrible gimmick. I can see the effort, but it still sucks though. Match 9, Vito versus Psychosis. Vito tries to get the crowd behind him, but they can barely be bothered. He tries again, but to no avail. Vito shows his chest to the disgusted Psychosis. Vito keeps on doing womanly poses to throw his opponent off his game. When Vito gets angry, he throws a load of smacks. Psychosis isn't hurt and he dodges in the corner and hits a spinning heel kick for a 2 count. Then Psychosis gets another 2 on a suplex. The commentators are arguing about sexual orientation. Michael Cole is determined to explain that Vito isn't actually gay. Psychosis slaps his ass, which is a bad decision as Vito fires up. Vito hits a back body drop and a scoop slam. The splash from the corner connects this time for Vito and he dances with happiness. Psychosis blocks him again and puts on a submission, but he releases the hold. Vito blocks a suplex attempt and he turns it into one of his own. A spinning back elbow now from Vito, shades of Devon Dudley. Unfortunately again Vito gets overzealous, which allows Psychosis to connect with a front suplex. Just a 2 because he wastes too long. Super Crazy marches out looking like a bowl of gone off porridge. That distracts Psychosis, and when he turns around Vito gives him an impaler DDT. Vito puts him up his skirt for a tap out win. We really need a name for that submission. Let me know what it should be. Anyway, this match is as dull as dishwater and it's 90% character work, and the character work sucks, it's D. Match 10, Vito versus Simon Dean. Again. This time they start by fighting on the outside. Vito throws him in the ring and screams, "That's what I'm talking about." What is? When Vito gets in the ring, he's met with a Dean basement dropkick. Dean slowly beats him up. It doesn't have much effect until a spear in the corner. Dean tries a suplex, but Vito's dress falls down, which causes Dean to freak out. He regains his composure and hits a kitchen sink knee. Dean tries to put on a wacky submission now, which doesn't work because Vito picks him up and suplexes him. Vito starts his comeback. He hits a reverse atomic drop and a flying forearm. Dean blocks his charge in the corner with an outstretched leg to the face. Simon Dean wants to hit Vito with a bottle. The ref takes it from him and this distracts him. I guess he's lost his pottle. Vito hits the impaler DDT and gets the tap out win. No idea why the ref needed to be distracted for that one. They're really trying to push the idea that Vito is the second coming of Goldust. The match sucks on Ishiaki's ass, it's an S. Match 11, Vito versus the Brooklyn Brawler. I'm all for winning streaks, but it doesn't mean anything when you don't beat anyone of importance. This match is really weird. I've no idea what's going on. Half the match is a sleeper hold, doesn't even work anyway. Brawler drags his face along the ropes. They have a trade-off of punches like this is some sort of WrestleMania main event, but it's not, it's a 2-minute match. Impaler DDT and the upskirt jerk ends it. Vito looks like he drew his eyebrows on with a pencil. It's an S. Man, SmackDown was weird in 2006, so many wrestlers that would never be anything. Match 12, SYLVAN vs Vito. SYLVAN is nervously giggling like a little girl. Appropriately, we start out with a slap exchange. Vito quickly hits a reverse atomic drop and a diving forearm. He's all over the Frenchman. He hits a back body drop and another atomic drop to knock SYLVAN out the ring. He springs back into the ring, but nothing happens. It's a waste of time. The eyelash rake was not a waste of time though, and SYLVAN gets the advantage. SYLVAN gets a 2 off a clothesline. SYLVAN Grenier follows that of a big uranagi, which surprisingly is just another 2. Now he puts on a submission as Vito turns a fetching shade of purple. He manages to fire out the submission, hits a kick to the gut and tries the Impaler DDT. Impressively, it's reversed. It's irrelevant anyway, because seconds later SYLVAN crashes into the corner and Vito hits the DDT. SMA, the smell my ass, it's over. Really hate this one, it's an S. Surely the world's worst undefeated streak is due to end. Match 13, Vito vs Scott Fowler. The jobber is so skinny he almost disappears when he stands to the side. Vito shows him his knickers and clotheslines him down. Now Vito almost wins the leg drop. Why are we having long submissions in a 2-minute match? You only have a short time to impress on Ring of the Hawk and you're wasting time, Vito. He doesn't listen to me though, and he hits a second headlock takeover and keeps the submission on. The Invisible Man fights back to his feet and he punches Vito down to the mat. Vito does manage to block in the corner and hits a smack. There's literally just one guy in the crowd who's super happy to see Vito. Vito DDTs the jobber and wins with the crippler crossdresser. It's an S. Match number 14, Vito vs SYLVAN again. This is the most uninteresting undefeated run of all time. It's so pointless that I've fallen asleep. He hasn't beaten anyone with any importance. I don't want to watch this. No cool moves whatsoever. It's one of the most basic matches I've ever seen. The only decent thing I saw wasn't even our guy. SYLVAN hits a missile dropkick for a 2. Vito responds with a back suplex for a double down. Vito misses a dive in the corner when they get up, but SYLVAN misses Vito in the corner and hits the ring pole. Impaler DDT and the deep throat makes SYLVAN tap out. Oh wow, Vito has a mic. Finally something's happening. He threatens MVP who sat at ringside laughing at him. Nothing happens, it was a waste of time. End this now.
Bitch.
Match 15, Vito versus... Wow, it's William Regal. I can't believe it's an actual wrestler. Surely the winning streak is ending here. It just has to. Regal knees Vito in the gut and knocks him down a couple of times. He's stopped in his tracks when Vito flashes him and Regal is almost beaten by a jackknife cover. Regal gets angry and smashes his peanut head with knees. This looks like it's only going one way. Regal chokes Vito with his knee and then picks him up only to knee him back down again. William Regal gets a couple of 2 counts but he can't win it. Now Regal monkey flips him and tries to float over the top of him, but he's horrified to see that Vito's nappy is on show. The comeback is on and Vito hits a back body drop. He starts rubbing Regal's head against his nappy. Regal is horrified and bails from the ring. Vito has won by countout. He does a wacky dance to complete silence. What is the point in any of this? The wrestling sucks, no cool moves, and I'm sat watching a man in a nappy. What a horrible day this is. Match 16. It's Vito versus William Regal again. Why? Because someone hates me, that's why. Regal is extra angry to start this one out. I know how he feels. He smacks Vito down with an uppercut. Vito responds with a shoulder block and a headlock takeover. Vito's doing poses to throw Regal off his game. William Regal bails to the outside of the floor, and when he returns, he turns the match around. Vito's getting smacked all over the place. Back in the ring, Regal throws some knees, and strangely, he throws a dropkick. I can't recall seeing Regal ever do that before. The pin is made, but Vito gets his foot and his knickers on the rope. I'm getting really tired of JBL saying on commentary, no, my mum's watching this show. Regal smacks him down for another 2. Vito desperately tries to block the full Nelson, which he does manage, but Regal throws him onto the ropes. Now Regal holds the address in one hand and smacks Vito with his free hand. Vito hasn't done a lot here, but he finally manages a back body drop. He starts waving his skirt around, which costs him, and Regal smacks him in the gut and kicks him down. Vito makes it to his feet and lands a punch combo, which sends Regal from the ring. Regal tries his comeback with a sunset flip into the ring, but Vito sits on him and that's the 3. The best match so far, but that wasn't down to Vito, he did basically nothing. It's a D. Match 17. Yet again it's Regal versus Vito. You know what the definition of insanity is, right? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. It sucked before and it still sucks. It's the same match we've already had, but this one's different. Why? Because Vito does a leg scissors. Also, Regal actually manages a suplex in this one. I'm starting to think he'd forgotten how to. Vito misses his diving elbow drop, which was pretty funny, I guess. I'll take anything at this point. Vito wins again, and it's almost the exact same finish. It's an S. End this undefeated streak, I'm begging you. Where's the Big Show and Kane when you need them? Match 18. Elijah Burke. Thank God it's somebody new. He's accompanied by Sylvester TERKAY. Who? And he faces Vito. I guess he decided to make his dress even sillier. TERKAY grabs the dress from the outside, which distracts Vito, and Burke gets the advantage. Not for long though, and Vito takes him down with some simple offense. Vito quickly climbs to the top, but he misses his elbow drop. Obviously too early to try that one. Burke hits knees to the gut into a butterfly. The production team decide this is a great time to show a replay during one of the few nice moves of this entire run. Burke gets a 2 count off a back suplex. Lots of punches are traded. Vito actually hits a new move, the flapjack. He also does a dance into a leg drop, which really isn't such a highlight as the flapjack. Burke scores a cheap shot and leaves Vito on the bottom rope, which allows TERKAY to hit a big boot from the outside. And wow! Thank God! The winning streak is over! Surely it's the end of the video then. No. No, it's not. There really wasn't anything new here, so it's still an S. Match 19 is a mixed tag. KRISTALL, LASHLEY and The Miz, Hoorah versus Vito and LAYLA. KRISTALL wins with a roll-up. The only enjoyable thing about the entire match is the pin she made. Hoorah! Shove that! Match 20. Why is this still a thing? Someone please tell me. Vito versus SYLVAN for the 15th or 16th time. SYLVAN is still scared and disgusted. You'd have thought he'd be over that by now. Vito dances on the ring apron and it almost costs him the match. Some more dancing almost costs him the match once again when SYLVAN hits an almost Samoan drop. I was almost annoyed about that one, but I'm already annoyed and I can't be any more annoyed at this point. I also almost dumped in my nappy, but I'm not wearing one. Vito wins with a roll up and then he falls on the referee. I guess we're back to a winning run. What's the point in this poor SYLVAN fucker if he can't even beat a jobber in a dress with no moves? Match 21 is Montel Vontavious Porter versus Vito. MVP looks half dead, but luckily he's only facing a jobber in a dress. MVP almost rolls him into a pin straight away. He tries another seconds later off a scoop slam. Vito slaps MVP's burn on his back and knocks him down. Vito actually managed to hit the splash in the corner in this one. It feels like a while since that move's connected. Anyway, this match is bowling shoe ugly with both guys desperately making pins as they're trying to beat a clock and get the best time possible. Vito tries an armbar which doesn't work and MVP slops on top of him. This match is one of the most disgusting vile ones of all time. MVP finally hits a nice boot in the corner but big moron kicks out the pin. MVP follows that with a gut wrench suplex for another 2. And then another 2 when he drops Vito on his face. It's then Vito almost gets the win as the clock expires. So I guess it's a draw then. MVP is a bad drawer and he kicks Vito out the ring. But Big Vito responds by sending MVP into the steps. Wow, what a poor way to book a newly debuted star. He almost lost to a man in a dress. And then he's beaten up after the match. Hated it, it's an S. Match 22, 6-man tag. Dave Taylor, William Regal and MVP versus Vito, London and Kendrick with Ashley. Vito dances around the ring doing nothing and looking confused. He eventually gets him with MVP who snap mirrors him and kicks him in the back for a 2. MVP sends him running now and Vito is able to hit a diving forearm. Now it's a scoop slam into a dancing leg drop. Vito tries to attack Taylor and Regal and MVP takes advantage of that distraction. Dave Taylor's in now and he gets a 2 on a suplex. Taylor starts throat chopping him around the ring. Vito's been isolated. Regal comes in and knees him in the face and frantically smacks him in the face. Now Regal hits a beautiful half Nelson throw and the tag is made back to Taylor. The crowd are actually chanting for Vito to make the tag, but he can't. Regal tries a fisherman which Vito turns into a small package which almost ends this one. Dave Taylor's back in now with more uppercuts. This match feels like a punishment. Vito eventually does a back body drop but MVP stops the tag. Vito keeps crawling as MVP crashes down on him time and time again. Everyone seems to be confused what's going on. Now Vito manages a jawbreaker and the tag is actually made to Kendrick. He shouldn't have bothered though because seconds later MVP beats Kendrick by dropping him on the back of his head. This one wasn't actually bad and Vito really took his licks here. Shame he has almost zero offense. It's a C. Match 23, final match. Oh, praise the Bird Lords. It's Ken Kennedy versus Vito. Okay, a slightly intriguing match to end on at least. Kennedy slaps him, which fires Vito up. They almost botch a bat body drop, but they keep going. Vito connects for scoop slam, but the leg drop is countered. Thank God I never have to see that one again. Vito tries to come back, but Kennedy almost knees his head off. Kennedy rips his dress off, and for the first time, Vito isn't wearing women's garments under there. Kennedy slingshot Vito into the corner. He's extra aggressive here. He mounts Vito and slaps him and screams into his eardrums. I've seen Kennedy do that to a few wrestlers. He must have deafened some guys. Kennedy puts him away in a 2-minute match, the Green Bay plunge from the middle rope. Well, I am so happy that that one's over. Kennedy beats him up after the bell too, I guess to write him off TV, which he does. That was honestly one of the most hideous days I've spent watching wrestling. I almost bailed. It's fair to say that Vito in a dress failed. The screwed up thing is, I've seen other parts of his career and he did have a lot more moves than this. Look, I'm not going to hang around here. He's going in the shove it zone, pure and simple. And if you don't agree with that, I'll show you where your girl's got an ass dimple.